Good morning, everybody. It's Positive Tuesday today, April 8th, 2025. Thanks for joining the show, Fitzy. That's a record. That is a record. You coming on. I'm not kidding.
We made it.
You usually get on a little bit early, but we just went live in 10 seconds ago. You signed in. All right, I'm ready to go. So this will be great. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching The Big Show, Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Like Fitzy and I, they believe that it's the little things that make a big difference. Give them a call today, see what they can do for you. The number's right there on the screen, 715-520-2271. Fitzy, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah. Well, it was only 1 week.
I know. Hey, so what did you do last week? I forgot. Why you weren't out?
That was Jeff Wallace's last day. Wallace's last day as sheriff. I went over and had breakfast with him. So talked to him last night. He's kind of missing it. So maybe he's watching the show this morning. I should have told him. He doesn't have nothing to do now. He can watch the show all the time.
He should come on the show now. Now he can say whatever he wants to say. That's great.
Yeah, he can say that.
I mean, sheriffs pretty much.
Think of you.
Yeah, sheriffs can pretty much do that anyway. But
right.
You still have to be a
if
little
they want
bit.
to get reelected, they should.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That
Good
reelection
morning.
always gets in the way.
It does. Oh my goodness. Good morning, Dirk and Heather and Carol. Fitzy, we got a ton of things to talk about here. We'll do, of course, our election recap predictions, or our predictions that we had done. We'll kind of cover those. I also want to see how do things go down in Barron County. Was there any school referendum, stuff like that? There was a press release that you put out. Barron County Sheriff's Office introduces new canine. We had a couple insider stories that I want to get your thoughts on, as well as drug court. If we have time, I want to get into a topic about drug court, because Burnett County, the judge over there, apparently has said we're shutting her down. I don't necessarily want to get into what.
Didn't get my way, so I'm leaving. Taking my call.
Pretty much, actually. But I kind of want.
I'm sure there's more to it. But.
I'm sure you can have that opinion. But I kind of want to talk about drug court in general and in Barron County. So we have a lot to get to, but as always, we want to start with sports. Our favorite team, college basketball, Duke, they lost. Did you watch that game?
Of course I did, and I don't know how you don't score a basket in the last 3 minutes, and you can't score in 37 seconds, and I don't think it was a foul on Cooper Flag, but that wasn't the idea. The idea that they didn't score a basket, so you can't win if you don't score.
Well, that's true. And good morning, Mike. Oh, by the way, when I get to our election predictions, or a recap of that, someone sent us an email right after the show when Mike was on. I want to share with you, because apparently we have a lot of power and sway on our show.
Really?
Yeah, apparently. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. So good morning, Mike, and good morning, Mark. Mike filled in last week. So the game. I was watching that Duke game against, Houston. And I was getting a phone call, and I'm like, well, do I take it or not? It's the end of the game. And I looked up, and it was 30 seconds left. Duke is up by 6. And I'm like, and they were in control of the game pretty much the whole time. It's whatever, I'll take it. So I go in the other room. It was maybe a 5-minute conversation. I go back in, and I'm like, what happened? They lost they were up by 6 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Demoralizing.
And bad pass on the turnover, and then last night's game was pretty good. Between
I didn't
Florida
watch it.
And Houston.
Yeah,
I did on and off, because Houston had a big lead. Florida was down, I think, 14 at one time in the second half. Come back and won. Houston did not have a good last shot, kind of similar to how the Duke game went.
Yeah.
But hats off to Florida. I mean, they went
Florida for winning, and UConn in the girls. I know we're supposed to
UConn
call it
girls
women's,
play.
but I don't care. It's girls basketball. Anybody younger than me is a girl. But no, congratulations to UConn for winning. It's unfortunate that Juju Smith not Juju Smith. Juju. I can't think of her name now, from USC.
Watkins.
Yeah.
Watkins.
It's unfortunate that she got hurt and was out, because I think that they really had a chance. But great job for Paige Beckers. She's going to be great in the WNBA. Is she going to the WNBA now, or is she staying?
I think so. That's like saying Cooper Flagg's not going to the NBA. So
You think he's going to leave at
should.
one and done?
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's too much money on the table. It's just too much money.
Even
on the
with
table.
NIL?
Yeah, but it was funny that they interviewed the new University of Minnesota men's basketball coach last night on, I think, WCCO, and he's like, "Yeah, if you guys aren't into this NIL stuff, and kids are going to leave. They're 18 and 19-year-old kids, and somebody puts $100,000 or $1,000,000 in front of them. You don't think they're going to leave? They're going to leave." He says, "So you got to play the game." And he says, "If you're not playing the game, you're not going to win." And as a very good analogy of it. So I mean, we and I know Mike Schaefer agrees, NIL is killing it, but these kids are getting big money and they're going to leave. And Cooper Flagg leaves, Paige Becker leaves. They're all leaving.
All right. Well, good morning.
They should because they're having fun, but.
Well, I know. I get it. Good morning, Patty, and good morning. Oh, Renee Hewitt. Good morning, Renee. It's a great time for sports right now. F1's back. I don't care about it, but that's a proper racing sport, not like NASCAR. That's stupid. Hockey is starting soon. Ovechkin, just won the goal.
Yeah, big goal.
So that playoffs starting soon. NBA's got to be May usually, so that's going to be wrapping up a little bit in terms of the regular season.
NBA.
NFL draft, is that this month? I think it's April, isn't
April
it?
23rd.
Over in
April
Green
24th.
Bay.
Green Bay.
Yeah. Speaking of the NFL, Aaron Rodgers. Let me ask you something. So he hasn't signed with anyone yet. What is a bigger contributing factor? I think both of them are contributing factors. Which one do you think is the biggest contributing factor why he hasn't signed with the team yet, or a team hasn't signed him? Because of his age? I mean, last year he didn't do well with the Jets, but like being a quarterback for the Jets is like being a quarterback for the Bears. It's just like you could be the greatest quarterback in the world. You sign with the Bears and you suck. Like it's just where you go to take quarterbacks out to pasture, right? The Jets were terrible. So is it because of his age and diminished ability, which I think is still better than most quarterbacks right now, or do you think it's all the other stuff? The headaches and the nightmares and the prima donna-ish stuff. Which one is a bigger contributing factor to why he hasn't signed somewhere?
What I think he wants to go to the Minnesota Vikings, and I don't think they haven't decided if they want him. I think that's why. I think the Minnesota Vikings weren't in the game, and now they're like, well, we don't have a backup quarterback. We might as well take him just in case something happens. J.J. McCarthy's not ready. I think he wants to go to the Vikings because he sees them as winning. I don't think it's Pittsburgh or Minnesota. That's the only two teams left, really.
Pretty much.
And so I think Pittsburgh wants him, I think, but he's like, well, if Minnesota, and I think he says, I'd rather sit out than if Minnesota doesn't take me. I think Pittsburgh will take me even if it's the day before the season starts. So I don't know. That's my opinion. I think it has to do with his choice, not all this other stuff. And I think the Minnesota Vikings haven't taken him because of all the other stuff. I don't think it's because of his age or his ability. I think it's all the other stuff. And they're like, do we really want that headache? And then he's on this team and all this focus is on him and not JJ. But again, if you're JJ, maybe you want it all on Aaron Rodgers and you just go be the quarterback. I don't know. I no idea.
Well, you can't sign him to be the backup. Like if you sign Aaron Rodgers, he has to start. Right?
Yeah, but maybe.
I don't know. I can't wait to see how that plays out. All right. Well, we have a whole bunch of things to get to here, and we'll do all of that in 15 seconds after a word from Spooner Health.
Spooner Health, compassion is at the center of everything we do. It's rooted in who we are and why we're here. It unites us as providers, neighbors, and as a community. Learn more at spoonerhealth.com.
Well, apparently Mike, being a Vikings fan, is not in support of going to the Vikings.
Well, I don't think
they
it's
should.
Probably a good fit either, but they also don't have a backup right now, and I don't know. Yes, I agree. It messes things up, their plan, and I think that's why. But he's hoping they take him. That'd be my guess.
All right. So our election predictions. So 2 weeks ago, because we knew we were going to be off last week, we both predicted. We gave our election predictions. We both said that. Again, this wasn't like our personal feelings. It was, again, it's an election prediction that Susan Crawford would win the Supreme Court race, that Jill Underly would get reelected as the state's DPI superintendent, and that voter ID would pass. I did say at the time that 20,000 votes or less, we did an over-under for the Supreme Court race, which, wow, I was way off on that one. And then last week, actually, I think it was like almost, well, it was basically like $250,000. And then Mike was on last week filling in for you and basically said the same thing, right? And I even said that, as you know, I've said this on the show, that it's hard for me to really see objectively in the Supreme Court race because I consider Brad a friend. I've known him for years, Brad Schimmel. I'm wildly biased on that one. So I don't know how to really predict it. I would like to see him win. And as far as the DPI race, it's not really like I'm endorsing or supporting Brittany Kinzer, not saying that she's wrong with her. She was on a show. She was brilliant. But I kind of looked at it like, Jill Underly, I don't know, you're the head of the education department in Wisconsin and it hasn't gotten any better under your time there. In fact, I think it's gotten worse. So I would like to see a change there. But our predictions were what they were. Underly will win and Crawford would win, right? Well, I get this at voter ID, that passed too, but I get this email right after the show. Apparently it's a viewer of ours. And this is the email. As I listened to your radio broadcast this morning, well, it's not really radio, but okay. I was very disappointed that on election day, early in the morning, you were so certain Crawford and Underly were going to win today. You apparently support them and most likely will play a role in swaying many to vote that way. Very disappointed in your show. So I responded back that, of course, you heard everything I said, and I wasn't supporting them. Just, it was an election prediction. But you know what? I have to take a moment and say I apologize to this listener because apparently we do have a lot of sway. About 250,000 people we swayed. Well, see the power that we have on the show, Fitzy. We got to be really careful of what we talk about going forward.
We have to. So I can't believe dolphins aren't more famous. That's all. So
I just thought that one was kind of funny. I'm like, wow.
Well, and yeah, we've predicted it the other way, and sometimes, most of the time, we're wrong. So finally,
that's why we literally call it election prediction sure to go wrong. That's why we call it that. Yeah.
I don't think we've ever been 3 for 3. So.
Never.
Maybe our show is very powerful now. Maybe that viewer's right. Maybe we do have all the power.
Apparently. Deeper. All right. Well, on that note, we'll do an election prediction right here. Not election prediction. Well, okay. Governor's race in Wisconsin, because that's going to start heating up soon.
Yep.
We'll say 2 months from now. What are we on? April 8th. So June 8th. So it's like an over-under, but it's a before-after. At least one person will announce they're running for governor before June 8th or after June 8th.
Oh. Well, I just met a guy yesterday that stopped here at the sheriff's department that's running for governor of Minnesota. He's from Birchwood originally. Stopped by because and he introduced himself as the guy running for governor of Minnesota. His name's Jeff Johnson, and he lives literally a graduate of Birchwood High School and lives in St. Cloud right now. And he stopped in because he likes what I do in law enforcement. He's followed our career here and thinks we have a really top-notch law enforcement. Had a couple questions about law enforcement, and he said, "Thanks for what you do," and went on. So anyway,
is he officially announced?
Yep.
Okay, so
we're going to endorse him. He'll probably win. No problem.
I'll endorse him. He's from Wisconsin. I'm going to. Duh.
But he's running for Minnesota governor. But I don't know nothing about him. I just met him.
I don't
Super
either.
nice
That doesn't
guy.
matter. We met the guy once. Yeah. Yep, you got our support.
Right.
I'm going to take the under June 8th. I think I'll take the under. I'll say before June 8th, and I think those will be more of the quote unquote underdogs. But I would think that a governor on either side, obviously Evers has to decide what he's going to do. But I would say the Republican side is probably going to be announcing sooner. What's that?
Is Evers going to run?
6 months ago, I would say no. 3 months ago, I would say 50-50. Now I'm still kind of there. I don't
know.
I think he's going to. Yeah.
I think he's going to too, but I have no inside information on that. So anyway.
No, me either.
Yeah.
No, I think so. I mean, somebody will announce on the Republican side before June 8th. They're all going to have to announce by mid to late summer. You can't wait till September. So, all right, see now we'll find out.
If you're not in the race, a year from August will be the primary if there is one. So
exactly. You put out a press release. So by the way, since I said under, apparently I have a lot of sway. So now that's pretty much a guarantee. Somebody's now going to announce their governor's race before that.
Tomorrow,
Probably tomorrow. Our headline was Barron County Sheriff's Office introduces new canine Creed. This was a press release that sent out last week. For people who didn't see that, what's that about?
Yeah, well, obviously Creed's been with us for about 4 months now, but we wanted to make sure he was in training and going to go through training and it'd be good. A few years ago we had a canine dog start. We introduced him, and then we had to change dogs midway because the dog wasn't meeting the needs of us. We get to pick these dogs from when we go to St. Paul. We want the PR dog. You want a good drug dog. You want certain things. Is it a search dog? We don't do a lot of searches with them, so that's a ability that is not probably number 3 on our list. But we really want to. The PR and the drugs are really top for us. We want a social dog that's very good at drugs, and so these dogs get matched to our people. So we introduced him when we knew he was going through training. He ended up being the top drug dog in the class. So we introduced him and Bo to the community. Bo Nelson's been with us. He worked at Spooner PD. Mikey trained him well, and then Bo came here. I didn't take him. He went from Barron PD. He came from Barron PD to us, and so I didn't take him direct. But he spent a lot of years up with Mikey and Spooner, and Mike did a great job training him. And Bo's been with us now for over a year, and he's our new canine handler. So wanted to introduce Creed, let him know he's doing great. He graduates May 22nd and hit the streets, and watch out, bad guys. Here we come.
Go back to what you said about they tailor it, or what was that?
And they match their personalities to we match it to the handler and to what we want out of a dog. Yeah, I mean, it's not like here's a dog, here's a dog, here's a dog.
I kind of assume that, right?
No, they match them by size. Bo's a bigger guy, and they have some bigger dogs, and you have to hold these dogs back. Right now we're doing a canine demo in the other room for a group that we're giving a tour to. So Ryan Halbeck's over there with Jasper right now, giving a canine tour and showing all the things that Jasper does, and so. So it's a long school, 20 weeks over in St. Paul. So he graduates May 22nd, and he'll hit the road. And we wanted to introduce him to the community and let people know that canines are a very, we didn't budget for this because we didn't know we were going to have a dog leave when we did when our other canine left, leaving law enforcement, and so we weren't real prepared for this one. So. Luckily, we have a canine donation line that people can give to, and people have given to, and we were able to purchase the dog with our canine donation line. So, and help with the law enforcement foundation of Barron County. So everything worked out great, and we got a new canine that's going to hit the street. No, that is not the one that bit. This dog has never bit anybody yet. So.
I don't remember that one.
And that wasn't a county dog. So there was no county dog that did that.
Okay.
I think it was one of the municipality dogs.
Oh, got it. So we had an insider story. So obviously you've been off for a week, so this is a little bit older, but our headline was Barron man sentenced to prison for sexual exploitation of a child. Here's like the short version of it. Joshua Sargent, 40, of Barron, was sentenced to 25 years for Class C felony sexual exploitation of a child following a cyber tip investigation initiated by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Law enforcement recovered child pornography and exploitive images involving a known child from Sargent's phone. After pleading guilty in January, Sargent was sentenced on March 27th to total of 25 years. 10 years in, 15 years out. That's the extended supervision, with conditions including sex offender treatment, restrictions on child contact, and a ban on internet use. Your thoughts on that?
No, they should have been flipped. Should have been 15-10. Not excited about that one. That one was a very serious case. It should have been, I know people will agree with me that it should have been longer than even 15 years. It should have been longer than 10. I'd have been okay with 15-10, 15 in and 10 in supervision. The 10 and 15, having somebody on extended supervision for 15 years, just if you're going to put them on that long, they did something pretty serious and they can spend more time in prison. Yeah. So my opinion.
Well, we saw the 15 and 10 with that James Emerson from Renew Roofing, right? So, I mean, because I think 25 years, actually, I don't want to say that because I'd have to double check. I was going to say I think 25 years is the max for some of these, I think. Yeah. So it's just a matter of how much in and how much out. And out meaning supervision. And I think that one was a 15 and 10, if I recall. Yeah, I think I'd like to see, for these kinds of cases, I'd like to see more in than out.
Correct. And again, and you look at what somebody, and I'll defend Brad Schimmel on this one. You look at some of those ads we've seen. This may have been a deal in the works. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I could find out if I really needed to. It may be that the victim didn't have to testify.
That is a contributing factor.
So I mean, and in that case, I think Brad had to explain that a couple times, and so did Crawford, and that's why you can't pick and choose. Like, we're picking this apart. I mean, I can walk upstairs and find out.
Right.
But if that was the deal, so the victim didn't have to testify, I'm all for it then. Or if whatever the case is. So some of these are victim driven, and we don't get a say, and we shouldn't get a say if the victim's driving it. So
Correct.
Law enforcement should not get a say, or the public shouldn't get a say. But that's why you don't know about all these deals. And talking to Judge Bablu, who's a friend of mine, and we talk about, we don't know about everything that goes on. Judges are the only ones that know about some of this information, whether it's a pre-sentence investigation was what people do. Maybe it's the history of them. Maybe it's the victim, not having to testify, or a parent saying, I'm not letting my kid testify.
That's huge.
Well, if you don't let the victim testify, the bad guy probably can get away with something.
Yeah, that's a 50-50. I mean, that's not necessarily a guaranteed winnable jury trial, so you kind of cut your losses there and get a plea. So,
and jury trials are 50-50.
They just are.
Most of the cases, we don't take them, but if one person in the jury says they're innocent, Now, in this case, there's no question he wasn't innocent, but I would agree with you in your statement. I'd like to see more in than out if we're going to play that game. That's fine.
Renee says, I think they need a life sentence. Why? Because it's Scarlet Child for life. Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time disagreeing with you on that one.
Right.
But I don't think they, life sentence.
That's just not how it works. We can change it to make it work.
It is.
We'll just get Romaine and Dave on board, and we'll change it. Yeah.
That'd be great. I think we can all get behind that one.
People can change it.
Yeah. All right. Our second one, a second insider story that we had was guilty verdict leads to sentencing in Barron County motorcycle fatality. If you recall, there was, I think, 5 people involved in that. Here's the kind of the one paragraph summary here. Tyler Baker, 32 of Rice Lake, was sentenced in Barron County Court for his role in the fatal motorcycle crash that claimed the life of Charles Key in August of 2023. Following a 2-day jury trial in January, Baker was found guilty of a Class D felony hit and run resulting in death and misdemeanor obstructing an officer. On April 1st, Judge James Babler sentenced Baker to 1 year in county jail and 8 years of probation, with a 7-year prison term imposed instead. He will also receive an additional 30 days for the obstruction charge. Baker is eligible for work release and must comply with all treatment and counseling requirements. And yes, he is the 5th person and final person sentenced in the connection with that crash. The other 4, I think, were all obstruction, wasn't it? I think they kind of all lied about it. I think they all got 30 days in jail. So with the exception of those, but this is kind of the bigger of the 5, the bigger case. Satisfied with that outcome?
First of all, a lot of work went into this case. I was there the night this happened. I've seen the work that our deputies in the State Patrol did on this case, including the District Attorney's Office. And to have that trial was a very big trial. A lot of work went into that case. And a lot of people, and that's why we do this show, because people don't understand and talk about it. I'm doing a tour in the next room again. I started this morning, and they're doing a couple of things. I'm going back there, and they're business people. It's Leadership Barron County, Leadership Washburn County has the same thing, and they're business people from around the county, and they're learning about law enforcement today. And this is what we talk about: how much work goes into all of these cases. So hats off to our deputies that worked this case from the second it happened until the final day. I mean, a lot of preparation time went into this, a lot of reconstruction, a lot of evidence. And if you don't do a good job when you're right on scene at 2:00 in the morning, some of this evidence goes away. Right. And so that's why we close the road for so long that we do, and why we do, block traffic. And yeah, you can't get home. Sorry. But this is life or death in some cases. So I'm okay with the sentence.
Really?
Because I don't think it was super intentional. Yeah. But there was some, if you make a mistake, own up to it. And I don't think if he stays there and doesn't flee the scene and do all this other stuff, I don't think we have where we're at today. So I mean, mistakes happen, bad things happen, accept them and move on. It's okay. It's, it's probably
No.
not what the family wants. I would probably guess, but I don't know that any sentence would make the people come back. So
Wasn't the year jail time hell?
it was time. It was he has it. It's the sentence. The prison was imposed and stayed.
7-year prison was
he
the
has
term
to,
of Stokes. Yeah.
but he can do work release, so he's in jail technically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the 7-year prison term is if he violates any of this, right?
Yeah, right. And that's a big thing. I mean,
it really is. So, yeah. All right. I wasn't super happy, but I wasn't super upset. I'd like to see a little bit more, but I'll take your view and take that as my own as well.
Yeah.
It's okay. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, he did flee the scene, and yeah, there's a lot more to it. I mean, we've covered the story from the very beginning.
Right. And that's why he probably went to jail, as he fled the scene, and you're covering something up at that time. But some people are scared, and don't know the reason. I didn't see the interview when they interviewed him, so I don't know. I didn't see the details of this. I just know what was there that night because I happened to be on duty. So, but yeah, again, hats off to law enforcement, State Patrol for the work they did, and the preparation for this trial was weeks. We had to, take a cop off the street to prepare for this trial for, a good week and a half. So,
all right.
But that's what we do. That's part of the job that I love to explain.
Yep. No, and I think it's important to explain that stuff, right? I mean, we want to, essentially what we're doing is try to provide context. Not necessarily, this is more like the inside baseball stuff. It isn't just we did this part, but you have to look behind the scenes, like all the stuff that kind of went into that and what the impacts of those things are. That's why I've always appreciated you coming to the show and walking everyone through that stuff. Like the thing you said earlier about the canine. I didn't know that. I didn't know they would tailor okay, this dog wouldn't fit this handler. I never knew that. And if other people are watching that knew that, please let me know, because I didn't know that, and I don't think most people probably knew that.
Right. They just think a dog gets matched to a guy and they become a canine.
Right.
It's magic.
Yeah.
they go to school for 20 weeks. I mean, it's a long time.
So last week we put out, which is very, very rare that a board chair will send a press release. Our headline was, so this is about Burnett County, not Barron. Our headline was Judge Mogan's decision to close treatment court sparks county action. So she had something on YouTube, it was a couple weeks ago, and went into this long, I wouldn't say long, well, it was a long thing during drug court. Hoped that this would get shared by a lot of people. Even played a song and kind of made everybody sit and listen to this 4-minute song, which is kind of bizarre, but okay, that's fine. You're the judge, do what you want. But essentially what happened, and I've read some email chains that was sent to 100 people, and my understanding is that there is an individual that works part-time in Burnett County for the drug court. I don't remember the exact title. This individual, the judge wants that person to have a full-time job so they get benefits. Now, I'm not going to tell you why they want that person to have benefits, because I think that information that the judge has shared in the emails to a lot of people and on YouTube, I think kind of crosses a line, just in my opinion. You're talking about somebody else's health and medical issues. I think that's very, very, very dangerous, and I would not advise doing that. But that person wants a full-time position. The county had said, apparently, we don't have the money for a full-time position. This isn't about that one individual. It's about we don't really have the money, and and I know Burnett County doesn't have a lot of money to begin with. Would they have to deal with their county board? I mean, holy cow, people ask for money, you got to look and go, but we just don't have any. Sheriff Tracy Finch, hey, we should give our cops more money. We need more. It's we don't have any more money. So apparently the judge has drawn a line in the sand and said, well, unless that person gets a full-time job so they can get medical benefits as well, that I'm shutting down drug court April 25th. So as of right now, a lot can change here, I guess, in the next 3 weeks. But as of right now, Burnett County will not have a drug court. So I just wanted your thoughts about that, but then I want to go into Barron County and tell us about drug court. And is this really that big a deal? Would it be a detriment to law enforcement if you didn't, or the community, if drug court went away in Barron? But first, your thoughts about Burnett County situation.
Well, I mean, if you don't have that person won't have a job at all. So I don't know if that really helps the person, but that would be I just read this on the surface, don't know much about it. I don't know anything about it except what was on Dryden Wire. And so I would say it's a political move. It's
I think so.
Ballsy move, but I don't know. I mean, it's up to the judge. I mean, the person's going to be jobless if it doesn't have a drug court at all. I guess they can go find a job that has benefits then, but so I don't know. I don't.
Okay.
That's a political game, man. I don't know. I don't know if that's worth it to do that, because I think drug court is not a huge fan of drug court, but we now have a family. Drug court is different. We have a family court. We have a drug court, and we also have so they're called treatment courts now, not so much drug courts. And we also have a driver's license court. I can't know what judge. Anyway, I can't remember what they call it.
Why do they call it treatment court, not drug? Oh, come on. That's right.
He
It's
said
not
it
a
out loud,
riot.
you
It's civil unrest. It's ridiculous.
Well, and some of it, people don't consider alcohol a drug sometimes, and so it's
okay.
It's curing, So some of it has to do with just a wordsmithing. So it's civil unrest versus a riot, yeah.
Whatever.
So, and it's in your treatment, you're treating the people for whatever it is. Some of it's anger. There's other things that go along with just the drug part of it. So you're treating it. So our family treatment court is doing phenomenal. Because of the meth problem. So our family treatment court is doing great. But I used to look at drug court and used to say, man, our numbers are, 70% failure, whatever the numbers are.
Well, that's actually really low. I mean, not low. I mean, my understanding is that most of them over a long period of time, we're talking like low single digits success rate.
Right.
Yeah.
But if we can put one kid back with a parent, that saves $100,000 approximately to Barron County taxpayers. So so one success, and maybe but if we can save $100,000 to the taxpayers of Barron County, I think that's a big deal.
How do they save $100,000? How do you come up with that number? I don't need like data or specifics right now. You don't have that readily available, but how $100,000?
It's letting the parent letting the child be back with the parents. Then you're not paying for foster care, treatment, placement, any kind of placement of a child out of the home.
Oh, okay. We're talking about young kids. Okay. I thought we were talking about like grown adults.
So, no. I'm saying I have a drug problem. I get arrested. You take my kids away. If you can help me get my kids back in my home and work with me through this treatment court, and I can put my kids back, that's a big savings to the taxpayers of Barron County by letting my kids saying, okay, I'm not cured, but I'm better. And so my kids can now live with me under certain restrictions and drug testing and whatever they are. Now that costs money, but it doesn't cost as much as out of home placement. Out of home placement is the biggest cost for counties, no matter how big or small you are. If you look at the tax roll, out of home placements, whether that's mental health, drug, kids, whatever, out of home placements are the biggest cost to counties. And so that's, if you can control out of home placement, whether again that's juveniles, mental health, you're saving the taxpayer money. And so out of home placement. So that's how we look at drug court now. We don't look at it from a statistical data of like success rate. We look at how many kids did we keep in the home, how many parents did we let have their kids back, things like that. So it's a good thing. Our family drug treatment court is very immersive, which means social workers, judges, treatment people, parents, schools are all in the same room working together for a better product. It's a lot of time and effort, but again, keeping that kid with a family member, it only helps them. Having a kid not be with their mom or dad is not healthy. Now, in some cases, it's the right decision, because if they're going to stay on drugs or alcohol, we have a great treatment court video that was just made, talks about how a guy said, I got my kid taken away for the year. Having my kid back in my life is what kept me going. It's what keeping me going now. I've been clean for 2.5 years. And I'm going to see my kid graduate high school or whatever he said. Pretty powerful story. You and I, we just don't see that because, we live and die for our kids, and we just can't say this drug is so powerful that I'm choosing the drug over my kids. And so I think it's about addiction. It's about this. It's not about just, you should just stop and don't choose meth. I mean, that's what I used to be until you understand it. And I'm for punishment. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, but you can have a shot here. We'll give you a shot to make it better. And if you don't, then maybe you should go to prison. And maybe that's the best bet for your child. And I'm not saying we don't take kids away from people and never give them back, because that does happen too. We do not give kids back. So
you had turned me around on this like a year ago or 2 years ago, because it wasn't that I was against drug court. I was against the amount of resources being put into it. That's what I didn't like. There was a lot of resources for a smaller amount. However, you got me turned around on that a little bit. You really did. And I still do. So essentially,
that's why I like.
Go ahead.
That's why I like the family court versus the single drug court.
Sure.
Not because I think that's where if we're going to put money in, because we don't have unlimited funds, it should go towards families and not.
Yes, you do. You're Barron County. Good Lord, you guys got tons of money down there.
Yeah, that's right. We just throw it around.
Well, comparatively to like Burnett County.
Well, but you have less people. The percentage is probably still the same.
It's okay. We'll talk about that offline. No, that's not true at all. No, Burnett County is up against it. Yeah. Family court, and then the other one, family treatment court versus, what do they call it? Just a treatment court?
Drug court.
I thought you said we don't call it drug court.
Well, we still have a drug court, which works with people that are going to go to prison. We also have a family court.
Okay, so which one have you been talking about? Are you talking specifically about the family court, or are you including drug court into that as well, or is that a separate conversation?
I'm including it. It's just that we don't have the piece of the puzzle that we were missing in drug court versus family court is the child. And in some cases it happened in drug court, but most of the time in drug court it was like you're going to go to prison or you're going to go to drug court. And in family drug court, it's more we're going to take your kids away or you're going to get help. And they're getting the help that they want. It's been very successful. There's a lot, and so while we're spending some money on it, I think we're spending less than we're saving more, by having a treatment court versus, taking out of home placements.
I see. So, well, when I was a kid and I'd get in trouble because I got in trouble all the time, let's say you did get grounded. Well, that really wasn't a deterrent for me. But the moment that my mom took away my Sega, remember the Sega? She took that away because that was important to me. Wow, I'm like, okay, I'll do. I'm going to completely get my act together because no, my Sega. Find that thing that is important to them. And it's weird to say that, and it seems wrong to say that, but it's also wildly important because that is that motivating factor. We all have to have one of those. But in terms of drug court itself, like adults, let's look at that just separately. If that went away, how much of an impact would that have on Barron County and or law enforcement in Barron County?
I don't think it'd have any impact on law enforcement. I mean, I'll be honest. We might catch them. They might go out and commit more crimes, so it might have some impact. I got to think about it because I never thought about it going away. Because
that's what's going to happen in Burnett County, right? It's going away. So I'm just trying to not asking you about Burnett County. I'm asking you about Barron County.
There'll be, and I don't know how many. Let's say we have 12 people. There'll be 12 people in jail. Because they're not going to be given this option to be out of jail. So there'll be 12 more people in jail. So they would have some impact, I guess, when you look at it. I've never thought about it going away. I just, again, top of my head, you've never asked me that question. So I'm trying to walk it through in my head quickly. But yeah, it would have some impact, but, law enforcement would be a little busier, but, in there may be some out-of-home placements, so there could be some cost to the county. If one of those people has a child that they're living with that now they go to jail, they can't live with the child. But again, sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. So
yeah. Well, and I think one of the issues that I have, I think, is that it's going to be ending in April 25th in Burnett County. This is like what you and I have kind of joked about. Well, I should say joke. We've provided some levity to this regarding like Elon Musk over the last few months. And Trump, it's the cutting all these funding and cutting everything. I don't want to get too political about it, but we don't necessarily disagree with changing things up. But boy, just at the speed that we're doing, that's really fast. That's going to impact a lot of people in the interim. Maybe it's still a good idea, but man, all that stuff right at once. I feel like we need a little bit longer of a plan here, and that's what I'm concerned about. So now I'm going to ask you a different question. If drug court, what impacts would it have if I told you in 2 weeks Barron County drug court's going away? What about all the people that are in drug court right now?
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's just not really a plan. It's just like done, 2 weeks, over.
Right. I don't know what they do with them. Yeah, I think some of them would have to go to jail. I think some of them are going through this. The checks and balances wouldn't be there. Probation, most of them are on probation, so they probably just manage the caseload, which probation is doing anyway. I assume it's run the same way. So most of our people are on probation, so they would just be managed through that. And if they violated, they go to jail, which is what happens now, even if you're in drug court. But you have more checks and balances, so your chances of violating are less. And if you don't have those checks and balances, what some people need, so more people will go to jail. That's just off the top of my head talking about.
All right. Well, I hope they get it resolved. April 25th, apparently, Burnett County Drug Court will be shut down.
I don't know how you get it resolved in 25 days or 20 days.
I don't know. Again, I agree with you 100%. I think this a lot is I don't know. I think part of it is a political thing, but I don't want to put too much into that. But there definitely is some egos.
Right.
I don't know how much more from one side or the other. I don't know, but clearly both sides have drawn a line in the sand. And before April 25th, there is going to be an executive meeting over there. There's still going to be a board meeting over there. Maybe they will be able to figure something out. I don't.
Right.
I'm not overly optimistic, but we'll kind of see how that ends up. So.
Perfect.
All right. Well, we got our weather forecast here from Dirk. See, Dryden Myers forecast. Look at that, Fitzy. See, you missed it last time.
Dryden Myers forecast.
Yeah. Today, 38 to 43 for a high. Oh, look at the Saturday.
Yeah, I know.
60 to 65.
It's going to be beautiful.
Oh, and we get some rain in the middle of the week. That's when it should happen. Because we don't want a dry summer. That's good. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And Dirk just put a note up about weather sirens. They're going to activate on Thursday.
Oh.
And it's so the first Monday of the month, you'll hear our storm sirens go off. But Thursday is it's tornado awareness, or what is it? I can't remember the exact title of it. But so you could hear sirens go off at 1:45. That's an idea for schools. And then you're at home having supper. What would you do? That's to have conversations with your family. Say, okay, we're at school at 1:45. What do we do if the tornado sirens go off? We're at home having supper. What do we do? It means, get in, put your bike away, shut the garage door, shut the windows, put the awning down, whatever, your umbrella down, and then go in the house, monitor the weather. And maybe it goes by you and nothing happens. Maybe it does happen. So that's what the storm sirens are, an alert system. They're not like the tornado's coming in 1 minute. It's to alert you to get off the lake, get off the street, get home, batten up the hatches, and weather is in the area. Might hit you, it might not. We have a 15-mile range that our sirens blow in, so that we alert them. Not everybody can hear the sirens. I understand that the sirens aren't owned by the county. They're owned by the municipalities. They can put more up. They can take them down. They don't have to have them. A lot of people have a lot of questions on severe weather. I'm sure we'll talk about that some other time.
Really? Municipalities? I didn't know that, actually.
Yep.
Going back, it looks like Renee Hewitt, this was back in the topic of that Burnett County thing. I heard it's a cat fight. All right, Renee, if I can't call a woman a chick, then you can't say a cat fight. Or maybe you can because you're a woman, so you can say whatever you want. I don't know. That's funny, her cat. Yeah, there's some egos involved and some people drawing some lines in the sand. All right, what do you have coming up this week?
Lots of talks. We're giving talks today. I have a talk at the Tech College. I give a talk tomorrow. Thursday, I have a couple meetings. So lots of meetings this week. All great things. So nothing major, hopefully. And
nice.
The governor's coming to Rice Lake for the fishing opener.
Oh, that's right. That was on our show agenda for a couple weeks ago, but then you had to cancel that morning because of that crash. And I forgot to put it back on. When is that?
May the first weekend of May, fishing opener. So
why do you think you picked Barron County?
The sheriff. I don't know.
Well, of course, because obviously 300,000 people vote the way that our election predictions go. So I'm sure I'm sure Governor Evers is watching right now. Good morning, Governor. You're welcome out of the show anytime you want, buddy.
Well, we should come down and interview him quick on that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Bridget says
you should come down. Yeah.
People need to understand that sirens are meant for people outdoor, not necessarily for people inside, which is why I didn't know that.
Yeah. They're just made to get people off the lakes, take your bike home, go home
Yeah,
from your
until you
walk,
said
and
that, I didn't know that, Fitzy. I really didn't.
They're just a warning. They're not everything. So, yeah, we have the best fishing. Dirk Miller, he lives on the lake. He can just go out there and take pictures of the governor. So we'll have Dirk out there and be like, "Who's the guy with the photo?
Oh, with a shotgun.
That looks like a gun?"
Yeah.
With a shotgun. Dirk Miller's out there.
Oh my goodness, Dirk, you got to be careful. Maybe not a long lens when he's around, buddy. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's fantastic.
What do you got going?
I don't know. I have a committee meeting tomorrow. So, Tom Tiffany will be on the show Thursday. That's like those are getting a lot more interesting, obviously lately. So, I'm not saying he's not interesting, but let's face it, Tom doesn't really excite. Get a lot of can't wait to hear what he says. But wow, so much going on in Congress, in the government right now. Yeah, I'm really enjoying doing these shows lately. So I can't wait to find out what's going on. I still want to see what his thoughts are on the tariffs, which I still don't understand fully. I think it's really just like a game of control. What?
Now no one's gonna have a tariff, and no one will have tariffs. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So
yeah,
maybe this is a good thing. I don't know.
So, I don't know. I'll be patient, but I don't know. Kind of a dumpster fire. All right, thanks, man.
All right.
For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden. You've been watching The Big Show, Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience, this locally owned and operated business provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Give them a call today and see what they can do for you. 715-520-2271. I'll see you all around Thursday at 8:30 a.m. right here on our Facebook page when Congressman Tom Tiffany will be my guest for his monthly schedule. Chat with us. And, of course, Fitzy and I will see you all next week, 1 week from today, for our latest episode, exciting episode of Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy. We'll see how many other people we can sway to do whatever we want them to do, I guess.
Trying to get her 500,000. We're going to try to get her to 500,000.
All right, so until then, thank you for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.